We're back for our daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel here for June 6th. We've got all the teams today in Major League Baseball playing for this MLB Friday, and we've got you covered again for our 5 best bets. There is a morning game today or early afternoon game between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins. I don't have a best bet for that game. I just don't like anything there. Usually I try to get something for the early games, but yeah, I got nothing. So we're just going to go straight to the afternoon and night games. But folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel. Later today, we're going to have our Game 2 predictions for the NBA Finals between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Pacers do it for us again. We had Indiana money line last game, plus 400, even better than plus 400 odds. I keep telling you guys on the Indiana Pacers, we did it again yesterday. We've done it all postseason long, had them beating the Cavs, had them beating the Knicks, and we have them beating the Thunder as well. So go join us for our NBA Finals predictions, likely 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern here on the channel for game number 2. Also, in Greedo Plays MMA, our UFC 316 predictions this week, Mlb and Sugar Sean O'Malley in the main event for the Bantamweight Championship from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Okay, let's get on to the MLB Best Bet, starting things off with the first of 5. We're kicking things off with our Washington Nationals Best Bet of the day, and I'm taking Washington Nationals money line at plus 110. Now, yesterday, our Nats Best Bet did not hit. It was James Wood on the over total bases. Now, unfortunately, Wood didn't hit that. He went 0 for 4 yesterday with some very loud outs. I believe every out James Wood had yesterday, at least 3 of them, were on exit velos that were over 100 miles an hour. He stung a ball in the first inning to right field. His second at bat absolutely lasered one into left field. Wood just got really unlucky, and that's just a product of how the Nationals kind of played in that Chicago series. Just unlucky. They ended up losing 2 of 3 against the Cubs. They're now back to 4 games under 500, and I can look at the long-term outlook of this Texas series and tell you I think the Nats can probably win 2 of 3. I think the one that they're not going to win, obviously, is going to be Jacob deGrom versus Mitchell Parker. That is literally coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's going to be brutal. But today, I mean, they better win. And I'll get to the matchup in just a few moments here. But I think the way that Wood played yesterday is kind of like how the Nationals that entire game went against the Cubs. 8 hits, 1 run. Chicago 15 hits, 7 runs. I think if Wood gets going, the rest of the team should get going. And we get Mike Soroka on the mound. I keep saying it all the time with Soroka. His actual stuff is better than his numbers indicate. Okay, you look at Mike Soroka, 5.81 ERA in the season. He's been pitching much better than that actual line. I think, again, we've been waiting for a really good day out of Soroka. He's so due for one. And we get the Texas Rangers today, and it's like, all right, Texas coming into town. They ended up losing all 3 in Tampa against the Rays. Yesterday, obviously, Tampa had the walk-off infield single for the Taylor Walls hit. But I look at Texas still. This is not a team that's hitting the ball particularly well. Obviously, Seager's back in the lineup. He's doing his thing. But honestly, other than Seager and maybe Josh Smith, who are you scared of with this Texas team? This is a Rangers team that is 9-21 on the road this year. 9-21. Seager's hitting the ball well. I guess you can say Young's hitting the ball well as well. Josh Young, Semien, Garcia, Berger. I mean, all these guys at the bottom of the lineup have been horrible for Texas. Wyatt Langford's not even having a good year either. I really like the Nats here. And the biggest reason we're picking this game, obviously, is because today is Patrick Corbin's return to the nation's capital. Now, I respect Patrick Corbin, man. I really do, okay? You're not going to hear me say bad things about Corbin because for what this guy did for us in 2019, we don't win the World Series if it's not for Corbin. However, the guy was the worst starting pitcher in baseball every single season after 2019. 2020, he was awful. 21, 22, 23, and 24. I'd argue was at its worst probably in 22, which was the worst year of the rebuild, it felt like to us. But man, last year, a 5.62 ERA for the Washington Nationals, and now, of Corbin obviously leaves DC, and his ERA in Texas is 3.71. I mean, just to compare, in 2019, Corbin was elite. He was one of the best southpaws in all of baseball that season. His ERA that year was 3.25, and he's got a 3.7 now in Texas with the Rangers. Obviously not going as deep into games like he did back in his prime in 2019, but it's just weird. So Corbin makes his return to DC tonight. And guys, again, I respect Corbin for what he did for us in 19. I'll always be a fan of number 46, but I hope we beat the living shit out of him tonight, okay? After tonight, I will continue to cheer for Patrick Corbin in whatever endeavor he has. But I need James Wood to take him 450 feet today. I'm not joking, okay? Like, that should be... We need to see Patrick Corbin get bombed on, okay? Nats Park has been Patrick Corbin's house of horrors. And usually you say that for, a player going on the road. No. Patrick Corbin's house of horrors since 2019 was his home ballpark in Washington, D.C. I better see the Nationals beat the living hell out of Corbin tonight, okay? I don't care the ERA is 3.71. No. Moonshots out of the sky tonight. We need multiple moonshots off of Patrick Corbin. I don't care. So Nats money line today is plus 110. And yes, we're taking them to beat Patrick Corbin and the Rangers. I don't think the Rangers are that good. I think that was evident in their series in Tampa against the Rays. They lost all 3 games there. I'm not concerned about the Nationals yet. If they don't win this Texas series, okay, I will get concerned because this Rangers team is not as good as us. We have the same record as these lowly Rangers who can't hit the baseball, okay? Soroka's better than his numbers indicate, and Patrick Corbin, again, is going to get mauled in DC tonight, all right? He better. Wood, I'm looking at you, pal. Nathaniel Lowe, this team traded you, buddy. Time to step up tonight. CJ Abrams had 2 hits yesterday. Let's get it going. Ahmed Rosario. I need to see an Ahmed Rosario home run tonight, by the way, as well. Give me the Washington Nationals here at home to beat the Patrick Corbin-led Texas Rangers. And we get Nats at plus money, which I don't get. I really don't. Now, tomorrow, DeGrom, Mitchell Parker, all right, the Nats are going to be like plus 190 in their own home ballpark. But today, yeah, we should win this game. 100%. I'm really not even that concerned. I think this is probably one of my best bets all day. The best bet today comes with the night session. We'll talk about that later. But I'm taking Nats money line here, plus 110. Let's move on now to our second best bet of the video. It is our best player prop of the day, and we are going to Bryce Turang, the second baseman here for the Milwaukee Brewers out of Corona, California. Turang's a 277 hitter so far this season, 4 home runs and 25 RBI. We're taking him on the over 1.5 total bases, and I look at this line and I say, you know what? I think this is too good to pass up on personally for me, okay? I was surprised when I looked at, I'm looking through, player props. I'm trying to determine which one I'm going to feature in the video today, and I see over total bases for Turang. Now, my original best player prop today was going to be Kyle Schwarber, but then I was like, I don't like it lefty-lefty against Bailey Falter, right, for Pittsburgh. So I then moved to this one instead, and I was like, all right, I'm looking at the Milwaukee player props. I'm seeing Turang at plus 125 when I see, Contreras at like minus 110, plus 1, or I saw like Contreras at like plus 110. I see Jackson Chourio at minus 105. I was surprised Turang's at this value. Turang's been great this season for Milwaukee. He really has. Again, I said it earlier, but 277 average, 4 home runs, 25 RBI. In his last 3 games, Turang has hit this mark. He had a double yesterday and 2 hits against the Reds. Wednesday, he had 2 hits and a double. Tuesday, he had a double as well. So Turang has passed this test with flying colors. Actually, those are just 2 games. I made up a game in there. Regardless, though, last 2 games for Bryce Turang, he has went over this line. And I look at the matchup today. The Padres, they played decent baseball in San Francisco. They looked really good to start the series. And then they, you see the last 2 games, they should have won on Wednesday. They were up 5-0 against San Francisco. They blew that lead, obviously. And then yesterday, they just had trouble. Dylan Cease did an all right job, but they had obviously trouble on the mound with Robbie Ray. And San Francisco ultimately won the game 3-2. Randy Vasquez, guys, I don't think's all that great. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen Randy Vasquez pitch. I'm not too confident in that guy's abilities. ERA's 4 on the season, and we look at certain matchups. All right, there's not many matchups with Randy Vasquez and the Milwaukee Brewers, but if this means anything, Bryce Turang is the only guy on the current Milwaukee Brewers lineup in order that actually has a hit over Randy Vasquez. So 13 total at-bats for the Brewers against Vasquez. They are 0 for 11. Bryce Turang, though, is 2 for 2. I'm just saying, right? The matchup does indicate that Turang wins that. I look at that Brewers lineup, I say, all right, I like the lefty-righty matchup here with Turang and Vasquez. I think Turang, for me, is one of the most reliable bats for this Brew Crew squad. And I look at the way Randy Vasquez has been pitching recently. I'm not sold. I'm really not. Guys, this guy, Randy Vasquez, in his last 2 starts, has faced 2 of the worst lineups in all of baseball, and he's had trouble in both those starts. I get it, at the beginning of the year, he was pretty solid, but his last 2 starts have not been good, okay? We date back to May 26th against the Miami Marlins, 6 1/3, 6 hits, 3 runs. I don't care. That's the Marlins. You got to be better. Pirates, abysmal. This is really why I've been negative here on Randy Vasquez. Against the Pittsburgh Pirates on June the 1st, 3 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 2 homers. Ultimately, right, that was the game on Sunday. The Padres came back and won, thanks to Tanner Rainey pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But, that victory had nothing to do with what Randy Vasquez did on the mound. So I look at the matchup and I say, all right, Bryce Turang should be perfectly fine here. This is a guy who finds gaps. He finds ways to get on base. He's a guy who hits for high average, and there's a very high possibility that his base knocks again turn into extra base hits, and obviously that turns into us cashing our player prop of over 1.5 total bases. And I look at this entire game and I looked at all the player props for today, and I was like, all right, this is by far the best value. Turang's a guy that hits at the top of the order every single day for Milwaukee. I compare it to the other guys that we get for potentially this Padres Brewers game on the over total bases, and I trust Turang more than I do, honestly, Contreras and a guy like Jackson Chourio. The matchup favors Turang. Turang's a guy who's going to always put the ball in play. He's going to find, spots in the outfield, obviously, to get the ball down in, and I like Turang a lot. Again, a 277 hitter on the season. I expect him to get multiple base knocks against Randy Vasquez. He's already 2 for 2 in his career against Vasquez. I expect a couple more hits today, and if not, again, we can just get a ball in the gap. Extra base knock will do it for us as well. Hit on our player prop yesterday. Shout out again to the Chicago White Sox pitching staff. They do it for us every day. But I'm taking Bryce Turang today for the Milwaukee Brewers to go over the 1.5 total bases against the San Diego Padres own and Randy Vasquez. Let's go on now to our third best bet of the video. We move now to our first money line of the day, or actually second because we did the Nationals money line. Regardless, though, let's go to St. Louis, Missouri for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yesterday, just a frustrating result that came out of our best bet that included the St. Louis Cardinals. They ended up losing the second half of the back-to-back against the Royals, but we had Royals money line in the first game, and just an unfortunate choke job for Kansas City. Not going to spend too much time on this game, but all you need to know is if you didn't watch the game, the Royals blew multiple leads. They had the lead basically the entire game. They were up 3-0. Eventually, the Cardinals scored 2 in the bottom of the 7th. They could have only had 1 if Arenado was thrown out on the initial call for the double play. Regardless, though, St. Louis gets 2 in the bottom of the 7th. They have a 2-run blast in the bottom of the 8th to put them up by 1 run by Ivan Herrera. That was with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Regardless, though, Kansas City actually scores a run over Ryan Helsley. It was ultimately a Jonathan India sac fly, but Michael Garcia and was it Michael Massey, if I'm not mistaken, who got things going? Or was it Kyle Isbell? I think it was Isbell. Or what might have been Massey. It was one of the two guys. No, it was Isbell. Regardless, though, the Royals tie it up. Vinny Pasquantino with a base knock in the 10th inning to take the lead. Unfortunately, though, for Kansas City, Carlos Estevez kind of choked it away in the bottom of the 10th, and the Cardinals end up winning the baseball game. Regardless, though, today I'm going to side with the St. Louis Cardinals. They're at home, and they're playing the Dodgers. Now, Los Angeles, right, with a very nice come-from-behind victory against the New York Mets. Michael Conforto, of all people, came up clutch for Los Angeles after a very questionable decision made by Dave Roberts yesterday, not going to lie. There was a moment, I believe it was in the top of the 8th. Dodgers were down 1. They had 2 outs, runner on second with Juan Soto to the plate. They walked Soto to get to Pete Alonso, who ultimately gashed one into right field to make the game a 2-run lead, 5-3 for the Mets. Ultimately, right, the Dodgers came back and won the game in the bottom of the 8th thanks to an error. But regardless, right, the Dodgers Conforto put all the pieces together and ultimately won the baseball game. Tanner Scott got the save. But I just wanted to mention that it was a really confusing move, I thought, for Dave Roberts. Why walk the guy who's batting, 218 on the season? I probably think it's 228. But regardless, why walk that guy to get to Pete Alonso, who's been red hot hitting the ball in Los Angeles and just in general this season? Anyways, the main reason I'm going Cardinals money line, well, there's 2 reasons. One, they're at home. Second reason, probably the bigger reason by far is the pitching matchup. I look at Sonny Gray and Justin Wroblewski here. Wroblewski was much better in his last appearance against the Athletics, right? The first appearance he had this season was against the Washington Nationals on the road, and he got absolutely dominated, all right? The Nationals beat the crap out of this guy in 5 innings. Wroblewski gave up 8 hits and 8 runs and 2 home runs and 3 walks. The Nats blew that guy up. His last outing, though, against the Athletics, that was in the 19-2 victory that the Dodgers had on Thursday, May 15th. Wroblewski goes 4 innings, allows 1 hit, and gets 4 strikeouts. Again, that was the start of the A's big losing streak, and we are not done talking about the Athletics. Trust me, we'll get to them in just a few moments here. So I don't really know what to think about Wroblewski. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's getting recalled again, recalled back from the minors, I think. Yeah, I believe he's back up now. Well, I know definitely he's playing today, but I think he's been playing in AAA, if I'm not mistaken. Well, hell, he hasn't taken the mound since May 15th, so yeah. I don't know. I think the Cardinals, again, I'm not sold on the lineup still, I'll just be honest with you, but I think they can put together the pieces tonight. This is not a pitcher who scares me all that much at all, actually. Again, we saw the Nationals dominate this guy. And oh, by the way, who's pitching for St. Louis? Oh, yeah, Sonny Gray, who's been good this season. His ERA is at 3.65. I mean, that's got to do with the blow-up start that he had against the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets, for that matter, too. He's had 2 blow-up starts all year, which has contributed to such a high ERA. The Mets start where he went 4 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs. Phillies start 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs. Other than that, though, Gray's been really good. I mean, hell, since that last blow-up start against the Phils, and by the way, the Cardinals ended up winning that game. Regardless, though, since that start, right, Sonny Gray's gone 6 innings against the Tigers, 3 hits, 0 runs, 10 strikeouts. Diamondback start, we know how good that lineup is, 6 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs. Texas start, 7 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs. So Sonny Gray's been really good. And yes, the Dodgers lineup's incredible. I understand that, right? You get Shohei Ohtani, you get Mookie Betts, you get Freddie Freeman, right? Andy Pages has been hitting the ball really well right now. He's been hitting the ball better than Teoscar Hernandez has, for that matter, as well. But Sonny Gray's a really good pitcher. Dodgers got to go on the road after playing a series at home. And again, it's Sonny Gray on the mound. I think everything kind of feels like a St. Louis victory today. On top of that, we get the Cardinals at plus money, and the Dodgers are pitching one of their worst pitchers. I mean, Landon Knack's pretty bad, but Justin Robleski goes tonight. Again, I understand he was much better against the Sacramento Athletics, but I'm not expecting that much out of him tonight. I think St. Louis should be able to hit him, and I think Sonny Gray should have a good day as well. I'm taking St. Louis Cardinals money line here at home, plus 100 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's move on now to our 4th best bet of the video. I said we weren't done talking about the Athletics, and here we go. This is my favorite bet of the night, even more than the Nationals beating Patrick Corbin at home in DC. I really like the Orioles to go to Sacramento and beat the A's, okay? This is a prime example of a cool down spot for the Athletics. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't this the team that had lost, 20 out their last 21 games? Oh, it is. But they scored 14 runs yesterday against the Twins. Ultimately, right, the Twins win the series 3-1. Yeah, they're due for a huge letdown here, okay? 14 runs, that's the most they're going to score in a while, okay? And the Baltimore Orioles, don't let them get hot. They're only 11 games under 500. So watch out for the other team in the DMV. And yes, Baltimore has always been the other team in the DMV, and they will always be the other team in the DMV. The Baltimore's been playing good baseball, though, right? They've swept their last 2 series against the Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. Yes, the Mariners are fraudulent. Okay, they just are. I guess the Astros are going to win the division again. I guess. Nah, I'll probably still be the Mariners. Anyways, though, Baltimore sweeps Chicago. They sweep Seattle yesterday, coming off a 4-3 victory. Hey, we got the Nerfy, though, with Zach Eflin and Brian Wu. Shout out to those guys. But Baltimore wins the baseball game. They had to come from behind. They were down 3-1. Cal Raleigh hit a home run to put them up 3-1. The Mariners, and then a couple home runs, or at least I think it was it Gunnar or was it Heston Kjerstad, who put Baltimore on top. Regardless, though, a solo home run put Baltimore over the top. They win the game 4-3. They go on the road now to take on the Athletics. Again, this is an Orioles team that's won 6 games in a row. And first of all, I look at the pitching matchup and I say, okay, favors Baltimore. Dean Kramer is going tonight for the O's. I know what you're thinking. ERA is 4.70. Yeah, he was not good to start the season. He really wasn't good through his first, 10 starts. His last 2 starts have been much better, and I say they've been good. Against the Boston Red Sox, Kramer goes 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 0 runs. Against the White Sox in his last one, I get it's Chicago, but still, they beat the Tigers yesterday, hell. Kramer goes 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. He's been much better, man. He's been much better. In the month of May, Kramer's ERA was 2.72, way down from his month of April ERA, which was 6.75. So there has been improvements in the pitching game so far this season out of Kramer. And I look on the other side, who is Sacramento throwing tonight? They're throwing JP Sears. They're throwing the lefty, who's got an ERA of 5.05, and it's not like he's trending upwards, he's trending downwards. Sears' ERA in the month of April was 3, his ERA in the month of May was 8.37. You look at his last start, the only start so far that he's had in June in Toronto against the Blue Jays, 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs. Not a bad start. That's a serviceable start out of Sears, but my goodness, his month of May was bad. Look at his last 3 starts. Against the Giants, 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks. Angels, 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs. Astros start, 3 1/3, 10 hits, and 9 runs with 3 homers. Small ballpark, obviously, at Sutter Health Park. Sears has been on the road for 3 out of his last 4. Not like that really matters how the Angels bombed him when they played at Sutter Health in Sacramento. And I'm not telling you Baltimore's lineup is back. They're not. But at the same time, okay, this is a team that found ways to win, albeit against teams that are very poor hitting wise, right? In Seattle and against Chicago. But at the same time, they found ways to win. And they found opportune hitting spots against two rotations I personally really like. Again, I say it all the time. I love the Chicago White Sox rotation. I think they're underrated. The three pitchers that the O's had to see were Sean Burke. They had to see Adrian Hauser. I'm forgetting who they had to see in the second game of that series. But anyways, in Seattle, they had to see some really good pitchers too. I know George Kirby struggled some, but you got to see Kirby. You got to see Brian Wu. You see good pitchers in those series, and Baltimore found ways to score. And now they see a guy in JP Sears who has just been struggling over the last month. Again, I know Baltimore, right? Their lineup hasn't been great all year, but they kind of seem like they're turning around. Hell, Adley Rutschman yesterday goes 3 for 4, right? It was Gunnar who hit the game-winning home run yesterday, but Rutschman obviously is the guy who ties the game with the 2-run shot in the top of the 6th after Raleigh hit his home run in the bottom of the 5th inning, right? The top of the order, slowly but surely, is getting there with Holiday, with Rutschman, with Henderson, with O'Hearn. I know the rest of the lineup leaves a lot to be desired still, right? They're still getting Colton Cowser, back and running. Regardless, though, I like the pitching matchup, and I say, okay, Dean Kramer's a guy who I can rely on. I know the A's scored 14 runs yesterday. They are due for some serious regression. Jacob Wilson's elite. I understand that. That guy is going to be an all-star. He's going to be a premier player in the sport for a very long time. Went yard yesterday. He's batting 363 on the season. But other than the top guys in the lineup, it is Butler, it is Wilson, it is Rooker, and it is Soderstrom. Other than those guys, my goodness, it gets bad for this team. Shea will have his nights, but the bottom of the lineup right now, Max Muncy, Max Schumann, Denzel Clark, who I rarely see contribute. I know he did yesterday, but still, I'm not sold on the A's at all. You shouldn't be sold on the A's either. I'm taking Baltimore Orioles money line here on the road at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, California. Give me Dean Kramer and Baltimore at -125. We go on to our final best bet of the video. It is our daily Nerfy of the day. Let's go back, or let's stay, I guess, in Northern California. Can't say the Bay Area, obviously, because the A's are up north. Anyways, we stick in California here for the San Francisco Giants and the Atlanta Braves, and I'm taking San Francisco Giants. No, I'm taking the Nerfy. I was thinking Giants money line today. I'm going to stay off that. I'm taking the Nerfy here, though, between Atlanta and San Francisco. I kind of just want to laugh at the Braves right now. I'm not going to lie. After what happened to them yesterday, okay? I can be, disappointed sometimes. I can, kind of be sad about what's going on with the Nationals just as a whole, but at least my team didn't blow that lead yesterday in the top of the 9th. I mean, you got 1 out, you're up by 6 runs, and you lose 11-10? I mean, hey, beating the Diamondbacks isn't for everybody, okay? Beating the D-backs is not for everyone, Atlanta. That's all I'm saying. We need Spencer Schwellenbach to get us 3 outs tonight. And honestly, I mean, I love going San Francisco Giants Nerfies. I really do. Especially when they have a half-competent pitcher on the mound, which they usually do in all fairness. Now, again, going Giants Nerfies is really the only concern to me. I don't care how well the Giants are playing. That's a team that you can rely on to likely go 3 up, 3 down, or at least not do anything in the bottom of the first. Usually the main concern with Giants Nerfies, and especially again with their stadium too, but usually the main concern with Giants Nerfies is the opponent, right? The Atlanta Braves have some great hitters at the top of their lineup. I get it. It's likely going to be Acuna, Baldwin, Riley Olson, 1, 2, 3, 4 today, and then Ozuna in the 5. Against the righty out of Mattoon, Illinois, that of course is Hayden Birdsong, the 23-year-old reliever, who obviously is going to be opening, but has gone a little deeper into games. He's going about 5 now. Obviously, he is the replacement to Jordan Hicks in the rotation right now, and I assume Hicks is just going to go back to the bullpen when he returns. But anyways, Birdsong's been good. Look at that start against the Marlins, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run. Tigers, okay, it's the Tigers, but still, 5 hits, 3 runs, and 4 1/3. Kansas City start, 5 innings, 5 hit, 1 run. I'll take that out of Birdsong. I really will. I get it. There are some great hitters in the Atlanta lineup, but like I usually say with Nerfies, again, we favor the pitcher in one matchup in specific, and also I really think Schwellenbach's gonna go 1, 2, 3 with the Giants order. I really think so. So ultimately, I come down to the fact, or to the thought process. Okay, can Hayden Birdsong get 3 outs in the top of the first inning? Because if he can, we're set. Right? If Birdsong gets us to the bottom half and we're still at a 0-0 game, I'm very confident. Right? I look at what Schwellenbach's gonna have to deal with. Right? The Giants have been retooling their order. Right? They got rid of Lamont Wade. They bring in Daniel Johnson, and they bring in Dominic Smith. Now, Dom Smith yesterday went 3 for 4. I'm telling you guys, that's not going to continue to happen, all right? Dom Smith with that game just bought him a spot on the Giants roster for the rest of the season. Trust me, guys, that's going to be his best game of the season, all right? As someone who watched a full year of Dominic Smith baseball in the nation's capital, trust me, there's nothing going on over there, all right? Anyways, he's not hitting the top of the lineup. He's batting like 6th. 1, 2, 3 for the Giants will likely be Daniel Johnson, I guess. Sure. He had a good game the other night on Wednesday night, but like, really? I don't know about that. Jung-Ho Lee is in the 3. Elliot Ramos is in the 2. Jung-Ho Lee's struggling right now. He just is. You know, nobody hits pop outs like that guy does. You know, nobody does it better. Elliot Ramos is elite. All right, I'm not gonna question that at all. Elliot Ramos is a dog. All right, Matt Chapman, whatever. Like, Matt Chapman just kind of annoys me right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, every time I go to a Giants game, I just gotta hear the not like us every single time Matt Chapman steps up to the plate. It's just corny, man. It's just corny. Anyways, I'm not concerned with that. I'm really not. Like, again, Daniel Johnson, Elliot Ramos, Jung-Ho Lee, Chapman, I'm okay. Ramos is the concern. But as long as you keep Ramos in the ballpark, Jung-Ho Lee's probably just going to pop out, and then Matt Chapman's going to hit a hard ground ball to third base. Okay. And then if it gets to Willy Adames, I hope it gets to Willy Adames, because Willy Adames, who's the highest paid San Francisco Giants player of all time, is an automatic out. It's hilarious how bad he is, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It's getting to the point now, like, I'm going to Giants games, and, you know, I'm not, you know, I'll boo Willy Adames because I'm just trying to have fun. But, you know, people will join me. You know, Giants fans will start booing Adames because they gave this guy $190 million in the offseason, and he bats 198, and he's been just defensively as well. So he will make the crazy highlight play every once in a while, but I don't know. They did not get Milwaukee Willy Adames. They got a Willy Adames who knows he's getting paid, and it's just like, all right, money's money. But I'm taking the Nerfy in this spot. Again, I think Schwellenbach handles these guys, and yes, Birdsong's out for it, obviously, with Acuna, with Baldwin, with Riley, and potentially Olsen and Ozuna from the Braves. But again, I'm going to take my chances because I know, right, Schwellenbach's going to get those outs against San Francisco. And then we're just going to take our chances with Hayden Birdsong. Essentially, right, if you get Hayden Birdsong to go out there and pitch a shutout in the first inning for minus 135 odds, you'd take it. So that's exactly what we're going to do because I know Schwellenbach's got us. So anyways, that's what we're looking at here for the Nerfy today. Minus 135 in San Francisco between the Braves and the Giants, Schwellenbach and Birdsong. And folks, that does it for our 5 MLB best bets here for June 6th. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.